आदिष्टः एवं आत्मभुवादिष्टः परिक्रम्य गिरां पतिं भाडम् इति अमुम् आमन्त्र्य विवेश तपसे वनं मैत्रेय उवाच एवं आत्मभुवादिष्टः परिक्रम्य गिरां पतिं भाडम् इति अमुम् आमन्त्र्य विवेश तपसे वनं मैत्रेय उवाच एवं आत्मभुवादिष्टः परिक्रम्य गिरां पतिं भाडम् इति अमुम् आमन्त्र्य विवेश तपसे वनं Maitreya Vacha. Maitreya said, Evam, thus, Atmabhava, by Brahma, Adishtaha, being so requested, Parikramya, by circumambulating, Giram, of the Vedas, Patim, unto the master, Bhadam, that is right, Iti, thus, Amum, unto Brahma, Amantriya, thus addressing, Vivesha, entered into, Tapase, for the matter of penance, Vanam, into the forest. Translation by Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada. Śrī Maitreya said, thus Rudra, having been ordered by Brahma, circumambulated his father, the master of the Vedas. Addressing him with words of assent, he entered the forest to perform austere penances. Please repeat the translation. Śrī Maitreya said, thus Rudra, having been ordered by Brahma, circumambulated his father, the master of the Vedas. Addressing him with the words of assent, he entered the forest to perform austere penances. Next two verses I will recite myself. Ata abhidhaya yatah sargam dashaputra prajajagnire bhagavat shakti yuktasya loka santana hetavaha. Brahma, who was empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thought of generating living entities and begot 10 sons for the extension of the generations. Marichir atri angiraso pulasya pulaha krato Bhrugur Vashishto Dakshasya Dashamastatra Naradaha. Marichi, Atri, Angira, Pulasya, Pulaha, Kratu, Bhrugu, Vashishta, Daksha, and the 10th son Narada were thus born. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The whole process of the creation, maintenance, and dissolution of the cosmic manifestation is meant to give the conditioned souls a chance to go back home, back to Godhead. Brahma created Rudra to help him in this creative endeavor. But from the very beginning, Rudra began to devour the whole creation, and thus he had to be stopped from such devastating activities. Brahma therefore created another set of good children who were mostly in favor of worldly, fruitive activities. He knew very well, however, that without devotional service to the Lord, there is hardly any benefit for the conditioned souls. And therefore, he at last created his worthy son Narada, who is the supreme spiritual master of all transcendentalists. Without devotion service to the Lord, one cannot make progress in any department of activity, although the path of devotion service is always independent of anything material. Only the transcendental loving service of the Lord can deliver the real goal of life, and thus the service rendered by Srimad Narada Muni is the highest among all the sons of Brahma. Doesn't the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravane Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasyatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shrivasadi Gaurabhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. In the last class we heard about Brahma emphasizing on engaging in tapasya, how it is important engaging in tapasya for advancement in spiritual life. So after the instructions, continuation starts. Rudra, he accepted the instructions of Brahmaji by saying, Bhadam iti, I agree. So that's what it said. Evam adishtaha atmabhavaha. Lord Brahma, on being ordered to Rudra, parikramya, he circumambulated his father. Who is he? Girampatim, he is the master of the Vedas. And Bhadam iti amum amantriya, he exhibited his assent of confirming, yes, I will follow what your instruction is. And Vivesha Vanam Tapase, he entered into forest, Vivesha Vanam, for the purpose of tapasya, engaging in austerities and penances. Then Brahma, first time he is already disappointed. Second time he is already disappointed. In what way? The first four sons neglected to execute his order for a spiritual higher purpose. The second son, Rudra, second time when he created Rudra, he is ready to execute, but the population which is coming out are not suitable for the creation at that particular point of time. So in his both attempts, it was like a failure to Brahma. So did Brahma give up his activity? Did he lose enthusiasm? No. Further it says, Bhagavat Shakti Yuktasya, because he is empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavat Shakti Yuktasya, Ata Abhidhyayataha Sargam, he again thought of Abhidhyayataha. Dhyaya means Dhyayana, means to think, to thought. Abhidhyana. He was contemplating of Sargam, creation of again set of people. This time, Dashaputra Prajajagnire, he begot 10 sons. For what? Loka Santana Hetavaha, for the extension of generations. Loka Santana, to impregnate the entire 14 planetary systems with various categories of living entities. So these 10 people will be the primary cause. Further he says, who are these 10 sons? Marichi, Atri, Angira, Pulasya, Pulaha, Kratu, Bhrugu, Vashishta, Daksha, and the 10th son Narada were born. So he created different sons for different elemental purpose. Some Karmakandiya, some Jnana, some Bhakti representatives. Because different people of different mentalities are going to take birth. So somebody should be there to guide them accordingly. So in the purport, Prabhupada explains, what is the purpose of this creation and dissolution? The whole purpose of creation, maintenance and dissolution of this cosmic manifestation is meant to give the conditioned souls a chance to go back home, back to Godhead. So that people, a living entity, can realize how temporary is this life. Dukkhalayam ashashvatam. So that he develops detachment from this material world and endeavors for going back home, back to Godhead for eternal spiritual life. So what is the special purpose in creating Narada? So without devotion service to the Lord, there is hardly any benefit for the conditioned souls. Therefore, at last he created his worthy son Narada, who is the supreme spiritual master of all transcendentals. Because the whole endeavor for the living entity to struggle in this material world is go back home, back to Godhead. And what is the process for going back home, back to Godhead? Other than bhakti, there is no other process. So to give a perfect example to practice bhakti, Narada Muni was generated. Without devotional service, one cannot make progress in any department of activity. Without love, karma is never successful. Because there is love, karma becomes karma yoga. With love, knowledge becomes jnana yoga. With love, Ashtanga becomes Ashtanga Yoga. Without a tinge of love, all the other endeavors will not be successful. So that's why bhakti is essential, even in karma, jnana and Ashtanga. Only transcendental loving service to the Lord can deliver the real goal of life. And thus service rendered by Srimad Narada Muni is the highest among all the sons of Brahma. Because in various reasons, Kunti Maharani had explained why Lord incarnates into the material world. She gave 7 reasons. One is to satisfy his dear devotees like Yadu. One is Vasudeva and Devaki had prayed. One is Brahma had prayed that to remove the burden of the earth. So one is Lord comes to remove the unwanted population. Lord comes to re-establish the principles of religion. And the last point she says is, the final conclusion, Lord comes to reinforce the principles of devotional service. To establish the system of Bhakti Yoga. This is your actual purpose. To claim the fallen souls, it says. Through Bhakti Yoga, to reclaim the fallen souls. This was the actual intention of the Lord. To give them an opportunity to engage in devotional service so that they all can go back home, back to Godhead. This is the compassion of the Lord. So Narada Muni is executing that compassionate principle of the Lord. That's why he is the best. So Brahma therefore created another set of good children who are mostly in favor of worldly fruitive activities. The other 9 sons who are mostly in worldly fruitive activities. So we come across these names in Bhagavatam in some context. In the 4th canto we hear about Atri Muni. Or in the 3rd canto ending itself, when Kardama had 9 daughters, he married to 9 great sages. In that context, many of these names we hear there. Atri, one of the sons, his wife is known as Anasuya, very chaste lady. I think through Atri and Anasuya, the 3 sons, Dattatreya, one more is Durvasa, Chandra. 3 representing, I think, Lord Vishnu, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. The 3 sons were born in the 4th canto starting. These details are there, and in the 8th canto the same thing is perspectively explained there. So and Atri had also many other Kshatriya sons by name Artama. He is one of the 21 Prajapatis. And he helped Maharaj Parikshit in his great sacrifices. What is their role? What we come across. Then Angira, he was also one of the mental sons, Manasaputraha. His son is Brahaspati. Angira's son is Brahaspati. It is said that he is performing still austerities and chanting the holy name of the Lord at a place called as Alokananda on the banks of river Ganges. Because these Saptarishis generally, their period is for one entire Manvantara. Means 71 Mahayugas. In Kali Yuga, their visibility will be very minimum. So they isolate themselves in some places, they execute in tapasya so that they can wait for the Satyuga to come and where they becomes visible to the people. Because Kali Yuga more of sinful people. As soon as you see Swamiji, people will come and fall at their feet. Please give me this benediction. Please give me this relief from this disease. I have this problem. Please help me in solving this problem. My son is not getting married. My daughter is not getting married. Bless them, they will get married. Then after marriage, they are not having children. Bless them, they will have children. So all these materialistic thoughts, they will come and start disturbing these people. So that's why these rishis are also, they isolate themselves from the public vision. And they also want to have the devotion service element to the Lord. So they also engage in their tapasya. This is an opportunity for them for meditation upon the Lord and increase their devotion to the Lord. Then one more is Pulasya. He is the father of all demoniac descendants. Ravana, entire family comes from Pulasya. So once upon a time, Parashar Muni began a sacrifice in which he burnt all the demons to death because his father had been killed and devoured by one of them. At that time, Vasishtha Muni arrived at the sacrifice and requested Parasara to stop this deadly action. Because one person has killed, because of that you are killing many other people who are innocent in their endeavors. So because of this position of Vasishtha, of this as a respect in the community, Parashara could not deny the request and he stopped the sacrifice. So Pulasya, who was the father of the demons, appreciated this Brahmanical culture. Even though you are offended, but being Brahmanical in culture, he was ready to, forgive the offenders. So he blessed him that very future you will become the great speaker on all Vedic literatures called Puranas. A similar context we see when Dhruva Maharaj's brother was killed by one of the Yaksha, Uttama. Dhruva Maharaj went and killed many other Yakshas. So at that time Manu will come and preach to him saying that one person had killed, but why are you killing many other innocent living entities? This is not the attitude. The same perspective here also. Then further, Kratu, a great sage and father of 60,000 sons known as Valakilyas. They will be size of a thumb, only this much. And these 60,000 sages are there in front of sun god. When the sun god travels, and they will be offering prayers to the sun god. So Kratu went to visit Bhishma when he was lying on the bed of arrows. And Kratu was present at the birth celebration of Arjuna. Some of the events. Then there is Marichi, who is in charge of the mind. And he has 6 sons basically, who are represented in the form of Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. So one particular purpose, Brahma had cursed them. They all became the 6 sons of Devaki. So that's why by killing that first 6 sons, Kamsa, he purified Devaki from all the 6 qualities. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. So she became purified. Then 7th son, Balarama came. He put the asana. Balarama means asana, Ananta Shesha. So on that, Lord Krishna came as the 8th son and execute the mission of the Lord. He could have come as first son also. But in that purport, one purport Prabhupada explains why the specific reason why Krishna had to come for that 8th son. To cleanse Devaki, then to establish the basic platform that Balarama establishes the setup, then Lord comes on that, advents onto that setup. So Marichi's sons are that 6 sons who have been cursed to become the sons of Devaki. He had many wives, and one of his most prominent son was Kashyapa. And through Kashyapa's family only, all living entities in this material world are majorly Kashyapa's children. So he had one wife by name Dharmavrata. So once Every day he used to go to forest to collect requirements to engage in sacrifice. So he brought some darba grass and flowers, but because of walking for a long distance and summer season, he became exhausted. When he came home, he was starting taking rest, and he had asked his wife to massage his feet. So wife was sincerely massaging his feet. At that particular point, when he went into sleep, Lord Brahma had appeared there. And because the Brahma is the spiritual master of Marichi, now she is in fix whether to serve her husband or serve the guru of her husband. So finally she had taken a decision. She had to first receive Brahma because he is the first superior personality. So she kept aside the husband's feet and she went, received Brahma, gave him a place to sit down and all these details. So in the meantime, Marichi got up. He saw his wife is not there. He became very angry and he cursed her that you have neglected my service, so you become a stone. But later she will come and explain to him the situation. Your guru, your father has come. I had gone to take care of him as a formality and respectability. Or it will be even more offense if I don't go there. I am innocent. She claimed her innocence. But Marichi was not ready to listen. Then she engaged in tapasya. She prayed to Lord Vishnu. And Lord Vishnu appeared to her. And she said, please forgive me from this curse. Please revoke this curse. Lord Vishnu said, it is impossible. Because once it is cursed, I cannot withdraw it. Only the person who has cursed, only he can withdraw it. But I will do one thing. I'll give you an opportunity because you have been asked to become a Shila. In that Shila, I will take residence. And she became that Gaya Pranta, that mountain on which Gaya had established, and Lord, Shri Radha Govinda, Lord appeared there. Today we go and see that lotus feet of the Lord in Gaya, Vishnu Pada. So her body became that entire mountain. So in that way, Marichi was also explained. Then there is Pulaha, from whom butterflies, lions, tigers, lambs, wolves and kumpurushas took birth. I thought of covering 5 because next verse also continues about the same children. See, other 5 will cover because there are many other topics concerned to other people like Vashishta and others and all. The whole perspective is all these children are ready to execute the order of the Lord. Even Rudra was executing the order of the Lord in creating various living entities. And when Brahma had asked him to stop, he stopped immediately and he said, yes sir, I am stopping it. The whole idea is to execute the order of superior. Even though I may not be interested at that particular point of time. Should I execute it or no? Should we execute it or no? So a similar circumstance was there for Maharaj Priyavrata. Priyavrata, one of the sons of Vaivashvata Manu. The other son was Uttanapada. Priyavrata was elderly personality, but because he went for meditation and he went into almost like a renounced order of life, accepting the shelter of Narada Muni, he was engaged in penances in the forest practicing devotional service. So Uttanapada became the king after Swayambhu Manu. He was the emperor. So Uttanapada's family, there were many children like Dhruva, many other Prutu, many family members were there. At one particular point, the entire Uttanapada's family finished and there was no descendant to take care of the kingdom. So Vaivashvata Manu, he again came back to his elder son Priyavrata and requested him to come back and accept the kingly position and rule the world. So, one side Narada Muni is there, who was asking him to renounce the world and engage in devotional service. The other side, father is there, who is asking him is, come accept the worldly life and become the ruler. Now, Priyavrata is in fix. Because both are elderly person, both are spiritually enriched people. So, whom to accept? So, Bhagavatam describes, Charana Upasevaya, because he sought the lotus feet of Narada Muni, Parama Bhagavato Naradasya. And that supreme devotee, Naradasya, Sharana Sevaya, by engaging in his devotional service, Satatvataha, he attained the highest perfection in transcendental knowledge. And by discussing about Brahma Satrena, about spiritual subjects, he did not divert his attention to anything worldly matters. Then, Upamantritaha, then his father, Vaivashvatamanu, asked him, Avanitala Paripalanaya, to accept the kingly order, to worship, to rule this entire earth. Dikshashyamanaha, he convinced Priyavrata that it was his duty. And it is Amnata, it is indicated in the Vedic scriptures. As a Kshatriya, it is your duty to rule the world. And it is your responsibility as per Vedic directions. You cannot avoid this. But Priyavrata was very reluctant. Because of his avyavadhadana samadhi yogena, by his constant practice of devotion service, continuous meditation upon the Lord, samaveshita sakala karaka kriya kalpaha, by engaging all his senses in the devotion service of the Lord, apratyamna atavyam, the order of his father could not be rejected again. Now, eva abhyanandat, but he did not welcome it also. Because his question was, Parabhavam anvikshamanaha, when I engage in worldly activities, my devotional service might be diverted away. Tad adhikarane anasyamad asataha, because this devotional service, by accepting responsibility of ruling over the kingdom, might get hampered. So he was pretentious, means he was cautious. Because worldly life, kingly life means you have to marry, you will have children, you have to handle material subjects. So my opportunity of practicing devotional service might get hampered. This was his inhibition. So when he was in utter confusion, at that time Lord Brahma appeared in the scene, and after receiving respects and other formalities from Narada Muni, from Vaivashvatamanu and from Priyavrata, the Brahma began to speak. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Lord Brahma spoke, Niboda tatedam rutam bhavimi, ma ayushutum devam arhasi aprameyam, vayam bhavaste tata esha maharshir, vahama sarve vivasha yasya dishtam. He said, Niboda, kindly hear me attentively. Rutam bravimi, what I am going to speak to you. Ashuyatam, do not become jealous of the Supreme Lord. Because apratimeyam, he is beyond, aprameyam, he is beyond our experimental measurements. Vahamaha, we execute the order of the Lord. We means I, Lord Shiva, all great personalities, we execute the order of the Lord, because vivasha yasya dishtam, we cannot deviate from his order. If the Lord had ordered, we had to execute, irrespective of my inclination towards it. He says, na tasya kaschit tapasa vidyaya va, na yoga viryena manishaya va, naivarta dharmai paratasvato va, kritam vihantum tanubrud vibhuyat. By severe tapasya, by vidyaya, by engaging in Vedic education, yoga, by mystic yoga, viryena, by physical prowess, manishaya, by intellectual prowess, dharmaha, by the power of religion, arthaha, by money, or swataha, by any other means one capable of, or parataha, or help from others, vihantum, to defy, kritam, the orders of the Lord, is not possible. Tanubrut vibhuya, this is not possible for any living entity from Brahma to Ant. By your personal endeavor, all these things and all, we may say, I will stop, I will not execute the order of Lord. It is not possible. You cannot deny the order of the Lord. In the perspective here, it is like order of the superiors have to be executed. So, when Rudra was ordered to engage in penance, he sincerely accepted the principle. Now, all these living entities were ordered to create. They executed that principle by marrying and producing children. So, this whole spiritual life is accepting the superior's orders and executing them to the fullest extent capacity what it is possible from our endeavor. So, sometimes various personalities have various connections. There was one story in Badrikashrama. When we go, we see one place called as Narada Kunda. That's the place where it is said Narada Muni achieved perfection in some particular day of Brahmā, not today, some other time. So it explains, once upon a time there was a Brahmana by name Vishnu Manasa who lived in a kingdom called Drushadvati. He had a son by name Vishnuvati. So his father had ordered Vishnuvati to study and read all the Vedic scriptures, but Vishnuvati was not interested in studying. He used to associate with devotees and whole day he used to engage in kirtan only. So father used to become angry. One day he became so angry, he asked his son to get out of his house. So Vishnuvati came out of the house, not knowing where to go, how to live, but having the faith in the holy name of the Lord. He was roaming from village to village, chanting the holy name of the Lord, and various songs he was singing, what he had learnt in their association. So by that he obtained alms by begging and walking. Finally he reached Badrikashrama. So there in front of the Lord, he used to sincerely sing the glories in the form of songs. And because of his sincerity in singing, Lord became very satisfied. And Lord Badrinath appeared to him in full regalia and gave him darshan and asked him what boon you want. So at that time Vishnu Manas had prayed for 4 boons. The first thing was, from today he will be called as Narada. Second thing was, he will be accepted as a great yogi. Third thing was, he will be able to travel Triloka Sanchari anywhere and everywhere without any obstruction. And fourth one was, he will be blessed with complete knowledge and intelligence. So Lord blessed him for all these 4 boons, and hence he became known as Narada Muni. So like the different stories will be there. Now how to correlate, how to understand. In the next class, I will explain to you one of that story, which is explained in Bhagavatam. Who was Narada in his previous life and how connections came from various other events. So similarly, there is one more small incident. Because when we are engaged in devotion service, we should be, as said, we should be very sincere and we should be very vigilant. This was the incident which happened during Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakura's time. Around 1913, there was one hired Brahmana from Orissa by name Krishna Pujari was engaged in deity service at Yoga Pita. Yoga Pita is the Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's place of temple. So once in the middle of the night, that Pujari ran out of the temple shouting loudly, and he came to Vrajapatana, where he was crying, and he fell down in front of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and he was begging forgiveness. Then Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj asked, what is the problem? Why are you crying? He said, in a dream, Lord Chaitanya appeared and he accepted Narasimha form. And he sat on his chest and told him, you stole money from my donation box. Run away from here. Get out of my house right now, or else I'll destroy you. Then he started crying and he started rolling on the ground, and despite all the attempts, he could not be pacified. But after some time, he rose and went away back to Calcutta to his family. Even though there was salary, some pending issues and all. When they asked him to please come and collect your salary, he said, no, I don't want. I am happy. I am alive, that is happy for me. So sometimes I am just saying, some small, even though when we are engaged in devotional service, we may think these small things are no problem, nobody is going to see. Others may not see, but Lord is keeping count. You have to be very careful. And in this practice of devotional service also, there are many things that not always the favorable circumstances will be there. Sometimes unfavorable circumstances will also be there, but the devotee will be executing the order of the Lord. That is his primary mission. One such story is about King Indradyumna. We all go to Jagannath Puri, we all have Darshan, the temple built by Indradyumna. So what was his endeavor? Whether it was possible for him easily, Lord Jagannatha had come to him. So he was a king of Malava Pranta, and his capital was known as Avanti, Ujjain, a great devotee of Lord Vishnu with all good qualities. One day, when he was reading some Vedic literature, he was inspired that he wanted to have darshan of the Lord face to face. Because there are many places on the earth where Lord had manifested. So it was in Satyuga, some Satyuga. So when his desire sprouted, he went to the Pujari, who was his main priest, and requested him, my dear sir, please help me in this endeavor. I want to have darshan of the Lord face to face. Which place on this earth where I can get this desire fulfilled? So next day the Pujari asked various yatris who keep traveling in their kingdom to come to the assembly, and he communicated the king's desire. So in that yatris there was one devotee who said, I had roamed every tirtha yatra, every tirtha place, all tirthas across this earthly planet. But I had come across one specific tirtha where I was given an opportunity to have darshan of the Lord face to face. In the kingdom called Odra Desha means Orissa, there is a specific area called as Purushottama Kshetra, and there is one blue mountain called as Neelachala. On the top there is one Kalpa Vriksha, next to that there is one Rohini Kunda, and in between these two there is one small deity known as Neela Madhav. Original Jagannath is called as Neel Madhav. So there I got an opportunity to stay for 1 year, engage in the devotional service and have darshan of the Lord and accept the remnants of prasadam. By being in the association of the Lord, I developed all the 18 vidyas of knowledge, and finally I developed love of Godhead. So he falls down at the feet of the king and requests him, please go to that place, have darshan of the Lord, and your life can be delivered. So the now king became even more inquisitive. He wants to fulfill that desire at any cost. Now he asked the Pujari, let us start right now itself to Orissa. But the Pujari said, sir, you are a king. If you go there, whether there is a proper place, all these things and all. So first I will send my brother by name Vidyapati. He will go check that area and come back to us when proper facilities are done. So Vidyapati was chosen, and Vidyapati, he was given all the rituals and formalities, and all the pujas have been done, all auspicious things have been done, and he has been sent with few faithful attendants. So when he was traveling in the chariot, he was feeling how selective he was, means how Lord had bestowed that mercy, like how who went to bring Krishna and Balarama? Akrura. How Akrura was thinking, how he was chosen to go and have darshan of Krishna and Balarama, like that Vidyapati was also thinking in that same mode, that he is going to very soon have darshan of the Lord, and all the descriptions what that person had explained, he was able to experience that darshana. So after traveling for a long time, he reached the area, but because it was in the evening, he could not proceed, so he arranged a bed under a tree. So while he was trying to sleep, he heard some sounds. So he followed that sound, and there he saw there was a small settlement. They were all the forest dwellers known as Sabaras. And there was one main in charge of that Sabaras who was known as Vishwavashu. So he was the leader of that Sabaras. So he went and made friendship with him, and he had one beautiful daughter by name Lalita. So by staying in that area, trying to understand about the Lord, he finally married Lalita, stayed in their house. And every day he used to observe. In the evening, Vishwavashu used to go away, and next day morning he used to come. When he comes back, he used to have some divine fragrance. His body will be like radiating, and he used to bring some wonderful offerings and all of divine taste. So he was asking his wife Lalita, where is your father going? How is the divine fragrance, all these things and all. After some time she reveals that actually my father goes to worship Neelimada, who was there inside in some forest path. So then he became very inquisitive, the purpose for which he had come. So then he requests his wife to also take him also one day. So after repeated requests, the wife will put forward this request to father, and father will accept on one condition, that this person will be taken with blindfolded. Because if he gets to know the access, every day he will be going directly and he will be worshipping the Lord. So Vishwavashu wanted that it is his solo worship. He doesn't want somebody else to come and interfere in his service. So they blindfolded him, but before that itself, this person Vidyapati carried some mustard seeds in his pocket. So when he was taken to the forest path, he was dropping all the seeds in the line. So when he was taken in front of the deity, he was shown that Kalpavruksha tree, he was shown that Rohini Kunda, and he was shown the deity. So in the meantime, when he was there in front of the deity, Vishwavashu went to collect some fruits, flowers for the offering of the deity. So there he saw in that Rohini Kunda, one bird which was flying suddenly fell down into that Rohini Kunda and immediately accepted a four-armed form and was above and went back to Vaikunta. So he thought, this is a great opportunity for me. If I fall into that Kunda, even I will become liberated. He climbed onto the top of Kalpavruksha, and when he was about to jump into the waters of Rohini Kunda, there was one divine aerial voice which said, no, you have come here on the duty of Indradyumna. You have to go back and inform him where is the deity. You have to go and do your duty first, not this jumping here and becoming liberated. This is not your duty. So he got down and he went in front of the Lord and he started offering various prayers. And he was in full devotional ecstasy. In the meantime, Vishwavashu came there. He offered various ingredients for the service of the Lord, like fruits, flowers, everything and all. So at that time, Lord inspired Vishwavashu by saying him, till now I have accepted your humble offerings with love and devotion. But now I wish that I be served by King Indradyumna, who wants to offer a royal worship for me, because he is also a great devotee. So he tries to convince Vishwavashu, and finally Vishwavashu is convinced. So finally Vidyapati was allowed to go back to Indradyumna Maharaj and explain to him about the details. So Vidyapati went back and explained all the things what he had seen, experienced everything and all about the Supreme Lord, the deity, the place, the divine atmosphere. And he also brought one specific garland which was offered by the demigods to the worship of Lord Neelimada. So by seeing that garland itself, he felt this is Lord himself. As a representative of the Lord, he started worshipping that garland. So he continued, then he started with his entire caravan to come to this place. But when they came to the respective place, the deity was not there. Neelimada vanished. Now he became very disappointed and he became very infuriated that might be both Vishwavashu and Vidyapati had cheated him. So both of them were put into jail and they are about to be punished. Lord spoke to him in an aerial voice. They said, both of them are my great devotees. If you punish them, lifetime you will never see me. So with this condition again, he released them. But he was committed to have darshan of the Lord there. So he engaged in tapasya, penances and all severe austerities. So seeing his sincerity, Narada Muni was sent there to handle him. So Narada Muni came there and explained to him, very soon you will have darshan of the Lord, but before that you have to execute 1000 Ashvamedas. After that you have to build the temple, then Lord will appear naturally, because Lord has already ordered. So Ashvamedha Yajnas were conducted, 1000 Ashvamedha Yajnas. And for conducting of this Ashwamedha Yajnas, Lord Narasimha was first installed. Narasimha was actually the deity of Puri. Yajna Narasimha was first installed. If you go to Gundicha temple, next to the temple is that Yajna Narasimha. You will see one Adi Narasimha and Yajna Narasimha, two deities you will see there. That Yajna Narasimha is the personality who received these 1000 Yajnas. On the order of Narada Muni, that deity was established there by Indrajumna Maharaj. And we also see that Indrajumna Sarovar, in which Lord goes for a ride during summer. And this Sarovar is formed because of so many cows came there, which are to be given in charity. The dust which is rising from the calves' hooves had created such a big pond there. So after 1000 sacrifices, then there was an aerial voice again that very soon Lord will be appearing. Now build the temple first. So then from quarry they had built a road from which the stone was coming and the temple was constructed. Of the construction of the temple, then he wanted Lord Brahma to inaugurate the process. So he went to Brahmaloka to invite the Lord. But because he was in a human form, he was stopped at the gate itself by the gatekeepers. So he had to wait one day there in the Brahma's abode to get audience of the Lord. So then Narada Muni also went there and gave special request, and then he was allowed inside. When he went in front of Brahma, he requested, please come sir for the opening ceremony. But Brahma said, you have waited here one day. One day means 1000 Mahayugas have finished there. Your kingdom, nothing existed. Your family descendants, your kings, nothing is existing. But still, you have invited me, I will come. In the meantime, the temple became submerged under sand. So once Gala Madhava, who was the king of that area, when he was travelling, the tip of the shikara touched his chariot wheel. So when chariot wheel was touched, when he went inside and opened, then he found the temple, then he excavated the temple, which was buried under the sand, and he claimed that he is the owner of the temple, that he has built the temple. In the meantime, Indrajumna Maharaj came to do all the inauguration rituals, and there was a clash between these two people. Who is the owner? Indrajumna Maharaj is saying, I have built. Madhava is saying, Gala Madhava is saying, I have built. So to do this court settlement, there was one crow which is sitting on the tree, on a banyan tree in the temple. It is known as Kakabhushandi, a great devotee of Lord Ramachandra. So then that crow gives this verdict. It says that yes, Indrajumna Maharaj was the one who has actually built. And Gala Madhava only retrieved the temple from the sand. Because Gala Madhava had lied, he was cursed that he will not be able to enter into the temple. He has to stay beyond Indrajumna Sarovara only. So now the temple was built and everything is done. Now deities. Now where to get deities? Now all the invitations have gone everywhere. All the devatas were invited and everything. Now where is the deity? Then again there is a divine voice which says that very soon you go to this called as Banka Mohan, is a place near seashore, and you wait there. Lord will appear in the form of a log, wood piece. So he went there and he was waiting there. So he was sitting on a darba mat and he was engaging in austerity. So very soon one big huge log of wood appeared there. Then he immediately paid respects and he engaged people to shift. But not even an inch was moving. It was so heavy log. Elephants were asked to carry. Nothing was successful. Then he remembered the Lord appeared for the purpose of Vidyapati and Vishwavasu also. Then he invited them in a royal way, please come. As soon as they come, the log became very easy, that easily it could be carried. So they built a ratha and they carried the deity and they brought it to the Gundicha temple. And the temple, then they were wondering who will carve the deities. Various artisans were called, and as soon as they come, when they are trying to touch the deity, all their tools were getting broken. And nobody was able to even scratch one small piece, scratch a piece on that wood. So again his attempts were failing, but again he prayed to the Lord. By his sincere devotion, Lord responded in the form of one Brahmana who came there as Ananta some name it says. Ananta Maharana, who is the Vishwakarma who had come on that specific name. So he was an old man. He put one condition, 21 days I will be there inside this room and I will be carving the deities. One condition is that none of you will disturb me. As soon as you open the door and disturb me, the work will stop there. I will not be able to continue that. So every day he was, and he had asked all the other carpenters who had come there to carve the deities to make the rathas ready for the Lord to be shifted from here to the temple. So they were building the rathas, and here he was carving the deities. After, in between, around not even 21 days he is not ready. After 15 days, the queen Gundicha, she became very much intrigued, and she had asked her husband to open the door because no sounds were coming. And as soon as they opened the door, the deities were unfinished deities of Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra were left over. Then he started crying. The deities were not fully ready. Now what to do? That person also vanished from there. Then Lord said again, no, this is the deity, how I have to be worshipped, and this is my form, which is my real form. You can worship me in this form, and you can attain devotional service unto me by in this form only in Kali Yuga. So then the deities were brought. There were 7 layers done wrapping around the Lord. The first layer was known as Sugandha Taila, which is also known as Pushpadrava. The second layer was known as Patta Vastra, a silk cloth. A third layer is known as Juna. It is a frankincense resins made with oil. The fourth layer is known as Patta Jalika. The fifth layer is known as Sheha Lijina Vastra. The sixth one is known as Avaleha. And the seventh one known as Śrī Mukota, a gum which is made as final, and then painting was done to Lord Jagannath. If you see, the deity will be very thin, but because of the 7 layers, he will become very huge personality, Jagannatha. In that way, Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra and Sudarshan Chakra were installed. The 3 rathas were made. The Balabhadra's ratha is known as Taladvaja, which is decorated with green and red cloth. It has 14 wheels, which symbolizes 14 Brahmandas. Then Subhadra's ratha is called as Padmadvaja, which is decorated with black and red cloth. It has 12 wheels, which symbolizes 12 Bhuvanas. And Jagannatha's chariot is called as Garuda Dvaja, which has yellow and red, and it has 16 wheels, which symbolizes 16 characteristics of the Supreme Lord. Initially 6 chariots were prepared because in between Gundicha and the temple there was a huge river which was flowing. So 3 chariots were up to the river. From the other side of the river, another 3 chariots were used. But when Madhvacharya had visited, when he was traveling to that area, he said, instead of doing the 6 chariots, build a bridge there and close that river there, and make only 3 chariots. So at that time, on the order of Madhvacharya, that bridge was made, and that entire Grant Road, there was one river which was flowing in that area called as Bankimalini Nadi, which was closed, and one bridge was made, and only 3 chariots were used. So this is how Lord had appeared, Indrajamna Maharaj. See, in all his endeavors, he was always not able to reach the destination. But still, his continuous endeavor to have darshan of the Lord has given an opportunity for all of us to have darshan of Jagannatha. Patita Pavana, he is called as the deliverer of the fallen in this Kali Yuga. And he is giving an opportunity for all the devotees to come and engage in devotional service. So I'll stop here. Any questions or doubts? Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande.
హరే కృష్ణ గోల్డెన్ టెంపుల్ వారి మరో అపురూప కానుక హరే కృష్ణ వాణి ఆధ్యాత్మిక మాసపత్రిక. ఇప్పుడు మొబైల్ యాప్ ద్వారా కూడా సులభంగా పత్రికలు చదువుకునే సౌకర్యం, వార్షిక సభ్యత్వం, భగవద్గీత, భాగవత ప్రవచనాలు, స్ఫూర్తి సందేశాలు, ఇంకా మరెన్నో సదుపాయాలతో హరే కృష్ణవాణి మొబైల్ యాప్ నేడే డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకోండి. మరిన్ని వివరాల కోసం కాల్ చేయండి